This is my 2005 Chevy Silverado 1500. I used it as a plow truck. Pretty bad shape right now, but even when it was in good shape, wasn't really that good of a truck. Chevys at one point in time were really good vehicles, but the question I want to talk about here in this video is whatever happened to GMC, General Motors Corporation, as it was once known. I found out recently that it's not called General Motors Corporation anymore. It's I think General Motors Company or something now. They actually filed for bankruptcy on June 1st, 2009. Ironic timing there after the financial crisis in 2008. Interesting. And I didn't even know about this. But what it is right now, they're basically, most of their vehicles are made in China. You know, communist China that doesn't really care about the rights of the people and whatever else. It's all about the state. If you don't understand communism. Just found that kind of an interesting thing. Listened to a interview of a GM, what was he, engineer, I guess. And he was talking about how his dealings with the executives there at General Motors, and he said about how that the one executive literally told him to his face, he said, "We are not in the business of selling, or we are in the business of selling cars, not of fixing them." And they got to talking in this interview about the issue of planned obsolescence. If you don't know what that is, planned obsolescence means that it's not just in the auto industry, it's in pretty much everything, where they basically say, we are going to build things so that they only last for a little while. You can't fix them yourself. We won't offer any parts to repair things, and we'll just continually, you know, make new product. That way we make more money. It makes more sense, and that way you can cut out the thing of the parts industry and whatever else. Back in the past, you get a manual from a early 1970s car. It would tell you pretty much how to do everything, how to check the valves and the timing in the motor, and I mean all kinds of work that people wouldn't even think of. Most people wouldn't even think of doing today. Things are changing, and they're not changing for the better. But this guy also said that essentially cars are being built now to be disposable appliances. And I heard that and I thought, wow, that's exactly it. And I had this past winter, we were having some issues, and I didn't have a garage to fix my 2001 Jeep Cherokee and XJ, and also I have a Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor, and I couldn't get either of those fixed because it was really cold. It was sub-zero and whatever else, and I just couldn't get out to fix them. And I thought, you know what, it's going to be quicker for me just to get a minivan or something that I can use. I'll get a newer one at a dealership. It's, you know, it's fairly high miles, 150 some thousand miles on it, and so I didn't pay a whole lot for it, but I thought, be okay. And it's a vehicle's a vehicle, you know. Never owned a 2019, and boy, that thing, it was all kinds of little weird issues and making noises when I'd start the thing up and whatever. I like old vehicles, you know, so just weird. We thankfully got rid of it, made sure it was in good running condition, and I sold it to a company actually that uses them as their company vehicles. But man, what a headache, that thing. And I understand from doing some research that the transmissions go out on those things, those Dodge Caravans, the newer ones, and I see all these Dodge Caravans sitting in people's yards with weeds growing up all around them. And I talked to a guy the one time, and he told me, a neighbor up here, and he said, yeah, he said, I have one of those Dodge Caravans, and he said, this is back before I sold mine, and he said that, he said, yeah, he said, transmission fixes would be more to fix the transmission than the car's even worth. So it's just sitting out behind the house up there, and terrible. But that's what they're doing with these vehicles. And there's a deeper, darker agenda. And of course people know about it, but everybody just kind of, well, we won't bring that up, we won't talk about that, hopefully that won't happen. The whole thing is, I've heard nightmare stories, you know, where there was talk of, we want to make it so that the hoods lock, and you know, only a certified mechanic at the dealership could work on the vehicle, and you know, stuff like that. And you kind of think, I hope that they don't do that. They haven't yet, but I guess I don't think so anyhow. I guess maybe the Tesla cars have done that. And the Tesla car kind of epitomizes what I see coming, and the thing that worries me the most. And that is, you are given a vehicle that you can't really own it. Remember the World Economic Forum motto there, you will own nothing and be happy. But this is what they're heading towards, where you can't work on your own vehicle. You have to take it to a certified mechanic, and the thing tracks you and traces you, and it can be taken over autonomously and brought to a place or something with you sitting in it as the victim, not the driver anymore. It's a dark future when we have companies not being held responsible for making junk vehicles. Not a good thing. And again, as a Christian, I know where this thing's going. I know it's going to the mark of the beast system mentioned in the book of Revelation. It's a very bad thing. That's why I preach against this stuff. That's why I'm vocal about it, because I'm trying to warn people about what's coming in the future. But even as just a freedom-loving man, just a patriot, I don't see this thing as a very good issue. I mean, when you have a car that can lock you in the car and keep you there and whatever else against your will, well, that's not really the mark of freedom, is it? That sounds more like a prison to me. And that's what they're trying to do with these modern cars. And you know, you get the Tesla cars and they film everything. You know, they have little cameras running all the time and whatever. You know, and the malfunctions that go on them things. And I've heard stories of, I think it was out near Yellowstone National Park, there was an area where the Tesla cars, when they'd be doing the self-driving mode, they'd go off the road at the same spot and hit the same rock and everything. Little glitch in the GPS system there. I mean, if you're relying on GPS to get you someplace and not thinking with your brain, you don't have a map as a backup, God help you. How do I know that? Because I did it a couple times. Many years ago, I tried getting places with a GPS, and I'm not talking about when they first came out. I'm saying they'd been out for a while and tested and all the other stuff, and it still, you know, took me in the wrong direction and whatever else. When we were moving here to Maine back in 2000, coming up to Maine to look for properties in 2013, there were a number of times it would take us completely different routes, even though we'd program it for the same route, and try to take us through Canada the one time to get to northeastern Maine. It's crazy. So technology not only has its limitations, but technology is dangerous if it is misused and applied wrongly. And a lot of these cars, there are major issues with them. And that's why my recommendation is, if you want to be free, you young men out there, get an older vehicle and learn to work on it. And you say, oh, that's just your uneducated opinion. Well, if you would listen to the GM executive, or not executive, the GM engineer guy, he actually said that. He said, get something that's basically 2005 and older and learn to maintain it. That's about the only way that you can fight this planned obsolescence stuff. These control factors that they're literally building into the cars now. I mean, it's insane. You know, and see, what they do, the little Goonie boys, the New World Order Goonie boys, they'll go like this, and they'll do the boa constrictor. As soon as you go and resist, they go, oh, you know, we're going to do EV mandates in California. You're not going to be allowed to have a gas vehicle past, what, 2027 or something like that, or whatever it was. And people, and they start to fight. They go, we'll just kind of let up. That's okay. We get Trump in there now, and we'll just say that, okay, all right, we're not going to do EV mandates anymore. And then they wait a little while and try to do the little squeeze on you again. So just wanted to do a little video on this. You can look up the video. There's a guy on YouTube here, and not endorsing the channel or anything, but I appreciate somebody that's for freedom whether saved or lost. He definitely doesn't profess to be a saved man, but Uncle Tony's Garage, and he's been talking about this vehicle Armageddon issue for a long time, and it really resounds with me because I've had these, I've had older vehicles, and I mean, you can pretty much do almost anything on them, and the trade-off is that there's more maintenance with them, which is good because then you get to know the vehicle, and you're going down the road and I smell something. What is that? Oh, you know what? That's the oil that I probably spilled a little bit down on the, the exhaust manifold or something there when I was changing it last time, and you get to know the vehicle. Well, it's not starting. Well, it can't be the starter because I just put one on and it was a good starter. What about the battery? I mean, I just replaced the battery not long ago either. You get to know the vehicle. Had a 1969 Ford F100 Ranger for a while, and that was a really good truck. Great to work on and everything. Currently have a 1991 F350, and it's got a few issues that I need to work on, and but they'll be easy to fix because they were still being made back in the years before they were really cranking up the thing of the planned obsolescence. But you go back to the 1960s and whatever else, I mean, I bought an older CJ5, Jeep CJ5, 1964, and it's a F-head motor in it, 4-cylinder, and I mean, it took the carburetor off, had it sent off. I'm going to be putting that on here soon, and I mean, the thing's so simple, so basic, and even with it running bad, even with the carburetor really dirty and needing to be rebuilt, and a bunch of other issues that it had, I still was driving it around back roads up here, did fine. No sensors to go beep, 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 beep. Please take it to a repair technician as soon as possible or something. So just a little heads up to freedom-loving people, whether saved or lost. If you're not saved, you might want to look into real Christianity, not the church building stuff. There's none of that stuff in the New Testament. Please understand that. What you see out there, and all Christians are a bunch of hypocrites and all that. Yeah, I feel the same way, and I'm a Christian preacher. So you might do well to study what the Bible actually says, the New Testament actually says. But I'll leave a few videos here at the end. Give you some things to think about. This is just a walk and talk. This is not an actual sermon. Just to make that plain again. Some people don't get it, but that's going to be it. Thank you very much for watching. Get an older vehicle. You'll be glad that you did.